Welcome everyone to our this week's amazing live session. Today we're going to talk about how to stay authentic on AI-saturated social media. What does it mean to be authentic? Why do we even need to care about it? And how not to overuse and abuse AI today, and what consequences that might have. Our guest today is Anna Aleksenko, and a little bit more about her later. This is me, Polina Winglovsky, and I am your regular host. Thank you for coming, and I hope today you're going to get some great ideas. If you have any questions, if you want to share your own stories, opinions, and ideas, feel free to write them in the comments. We will be happy to discuss this all together. Before we begin, I wanted to remind you what Amazy.uk is. This is a fantastic workspace for modern educators. It's a digital space where you can find thousands of ready-to-use, customizable materials, interactive, that you can share with your students. You can create your own interactive materials there as well and share with other teachers and your students. Track progress, and we also have a fantastic AI tool to generate exercises, texts, and other things for your lessons. So this is very close to the topic we're discussing today. You can scan the QR code in the top left corner, but it's very simple to remember, amazy.uk. Go on Amazy and check it out for yourselves. Okay, back to me, and let's welcome today our guest, Anna. Um, Let me tell you a little bit about her. She is a CELTA certified language and communication trainer with more than 10 years experience in global corporate training. And she also creates personalized coaching programs for international community. And she helps students build confidence and break through language barriers. And one more thing about Anna is that she has a fantastic presence on social media. And she's one of the most vocal teachers that I've seen. And I feel really privileged to have her here with us. Connect with Anna on LinkedIn. You can see the QR code in the top left corner and connect with her there. So let's welcome Anna to the session. Hi.
Hello, what an introduction. Oh my goodness. I was like, is that about me? Is that me? Oh,
Is it
God.
not?
Is it not?
Of course it is. Thank you for coming. How are you doing
Thank you so
today?
much. I'm doing very good, thank you. Even though it's Monday, Monday is one of the hardest day of the week. And it's fine.
Is it?
It's all right. I feel like it is. You still want to stretch the weekend. You still want to kind of enjoy more. But
Yeah. Thing is, like most of the time, like when you're a freelancer, you create your own schedule, you create your own routine, so you can make Mondays whatever you want them to be.
you can, but then, being a coach or being a teacher, you sort of create your schedule around other people and their availability. So
Yeah.
don't get particularly teachers.
That's true. That's true. As English teachers, I've noticed because I organize these lives at completely different days, different times, because people all have different schedules. And people who come here who are teachers, you will work in the mornings before people go to the office, or in the
Yeah.
evenings, when people come back from the office. Is it even possible to, work during the day like normal people? I don't know. Well,
Surprisingly, there are a lot of people who have English classes during the day, and I'm
yeah.
really jealous about this possibility.
Yeah.
Just pausing your work and just get into an English class, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah, a lot of my students have that, so I feel really, really lucky in that area. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today, I think, again, we can divide into sort of two separate sections, as
Mhm.
being authentic and using AI. And they are intertwined, we will make them intertwined, but they are sort of separate. So the first thing I wanted to ask you is, what does being authentic online mean to you?
Um, Okay, let's step a step back and I don't know. I think there are a lot of information. A lot of people talk today about personal branding, what
Yeah.
personal branding is, what is it not, and like everyone is kind of persuading you that you should have a personal brand. And once you start freelancing as a teacher, it's kind of non-negotiable that you have to create sort of a personal brand for yourself. But the thing with the personal brand that it's supposed to be personal, it's supposed to be authentic. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And that's what I'm seeing. Like with increase interpersonal branding, there is an influx of these AI tools that just tell you all the time that you have to post. And no worries if you don't know what to post. We are here to provide you with these genuine ideas, and they are not genuine, and they just they don't work.
That's true. So it's about quantity over quality,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you have to post more, and it doesn't matter what exactly you post, as long as you remind people of your existence.
Yeah, I suppose. But I don't know. I don't really like this idea of, just being constantly online and building up your presence by the amount of posts that you are just doing daily, sharing phrasal verbs and sharing phrases. Like it's not what it's about. Personal branding is about you personally, about
Yeah.
you, authentic side of you. And that's it.
Right. So there is no difference between being personal and being authentic.
I think it's very difficult to fake. People would spot it straight away. They would immediately notice that this is not a personal branding. This is a fake, and that's kind of. I would not encourage anybody to try and build up a persona which they are not in the real life.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. It must be exhausting. I don't know how people do that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We have a few people here with us saying hi. So,
Hi,
so hey, hi. And we have one more
I'm a
person.
LinkedIn user.
Unfortunately, you have turned on what are they called? The privacy settings that do not allow you to be displayed. So we don't know who you are, but thank you. Thank you for
Thank you
coming.
so much for coming. Yes,
And Manuel. Hi, Manuel.
hi,
Hi.
Manuel.
Okay. Well, back to the question then. Being authentic online. Um, Authenticity is, a buzzword, is it not?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we
As well
all
as
talk.
personal branding and AI, it's kind of
Yeah, all of them
all
are. And
jammed.
I've used two of these words in the name of today's sessions. Sort of like a cheat code for inviting people. Ew, we have to join.
Mhm.
But why do you even have to bother about it? Like, why do we need to create personal brand? Why do we need this presence online? Why do you do it?
Well, I guess as many other people in the industry, being a freelancer and being on your own means that you would have to eventually start marketing yourself in order to find clients, in order to pay bills, in order to pay food at the table. So it's
Mm.
kind of it's one of the ways nowadays. There's no advertising in the newspapers. You have to get yourself out there, and you have to start talking about yourself so the other people would get to know you more.
Yeah.
And this is why it's so crucial to stay true to yourself, because people connect with other people. They connect to humans. We're still very social animals in so many regards. So yeah, I think for me primarily it was about marketing myself, finding clients for myself. And then later on, it became sort of, I started thinking more about creating this picture of myself, but like having this digital footprint of myself.
I see. So for you, there are basically two major purposes. It's finding the community of colleagues, of peers, of
Mhm,
like-minded people where you
mhm,
can feel connected, exchange ideas, grow together, things like that.
mhm,
But
mhm.
also finding clients, connecting with your potential customers, and
Absolutely.
building a personal brand in that area. Do you distinguish between the way you interact with these people or between the way you present yourself to these people, or is it the same you in both areas?
That's such a good question. And I was actually thinking about this recently. I had a bit of a burnout from LinkedIn, and I'm still trying to figure out in which direction I would love to go next. Before it was, I got into this very serious. So I did the whole marketing thing. I had a friend who is a marketer, and they helped me organize everything. So I was really caring about the statistics, the impressions, the likes, the all the impressions that you have in the post. But right now, I'm kind of figuring out that I would love to start posting more about the things that matter to me personally, not necessarily something that my ideal client would see and would want to work with me in a way. So I guess it's a combination of these two. You cannot be like 100% personal, because at the end it's a professional network.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, we're talking about LinkedIn. And at the end, the end goal of the day is for you to get noted by your ideal client.
Okay.
So you cannot be 100% only personal. Look at my dog. Look at my garden. So, I mean, it's completely fine, but you have to find this balance between I am me, but I am professional. So
Right. Where is this fine line then? Because what I've seen a lot on LinkedIn recently is that a lot of people, as you mentioned, have been
Mhm.
sharing pictures of their grandchildren and dogs. And I'm a person, I'm an actual human being with life
Mhm.
outside of work. And I want to share it too. And I want to show you that this is me too. Doesn't that also bring a connection? Or is it something that people don't really want to see and this is too much and we don't
I
want?
think it absolutely brings the connection, and people actually want to see the post of you personally, what you do outside of working hours. But as I said, I guess there should be a balance, you know. And what I'm seeing quite a lot is that people post about the personal stuff, but they also connect it to their professional side as well. Like the
Yeah.
lesson I learned, I went hiking, and this is the lesson that I've learned. You know,
This is
or
a joke everybody makes about LinkedIn because it feels so fake. Like you just, it's, it's when you open a recipe online and you have to go through a whole personal story before you
yeah,
get to the actual recipe of, the other day my two daughters and I went foraging into the woods and we stumbled upon, a rabbit and here is a rabbit casserole.
and by the way, here's a rubber casserole.
Completely unrelated. So,
But that's a trick, isn't it? You have to write your story in a way that would capture the attention, but at the same time, you have to stay professional. So it's a kind of, you have to treat very lightly between the personal and professional stuff. I guess if you're turning to one side or the other side, it's not going to work. It's not going to have the effect that you are eventually aiming at.
yeah, yeah,
I don't
okay.
know. It's still a work in progress. It's still I still don't really know. There's a lot of vulnerability when it comes to my posts. But as well, I do overshare a lot of information, but I also try to keep it as professional as possible, and I try
Okay.
to keep it relevant to the people who are potentially going to be my clients in the future.
You mentioned vulnerability.
Oh
Could
yeah.
you expand on that a little bit? What do you mean by vulnerability, and how does that show in your social media presence?
I think there is another point that we connect to the others. I would naturally connect to someone who have experienced something similar to my story and my background. And I guess showing that there is sometimes, bad moments in all of our lives. It's also it shows you authentic. I don't like this word authentically.
Let's use the word true, your true self.
I don't know. It's kind of yes, it shows you as a real human being, I'd say. But it takes a lot. Like people don't want necessarily admit their own failures. But
Yeah.
this is another anchor of connection that you have with other people. I
Okay.
I failed. Maybe you share the same story, or I post quite a lot about immigration and stuff and being a parent. And there are a lot of people who are going through the same processes, and they kind of for us it's an anchor, a point when we can connect without admitting that I am also experiencing troubles in immigration or in parenting. I would never connect to those people. We would
Yeah.
never find this connection together. So it's super
Yeah.
important, and that's the thing that AI still cannot
Replicate.
fathom and replicate these emotions, these human emotions that we are feeling connecting to others. Yeah.
That's true. So, what I've seen that, you do and that seems to be working, and because I think you're one of the most genuine people I've seen on LinkedIn.
Oversharing.
Well, I'm not saying you're oversharing. What I'm saying is that the moment, like when I go on your LinkedIn profile, and the first thing I see is a human being, not, you know, a card, not a page, not a profile. I see a human being behind this immediately, and the way you can create that without being, too personal and oversharing is something, I don't know, maybe it comes naturally to you. Maybe it's something that you've learned
I,
over
I
the
think that's
years.
like a very good thing to discuss. All right. When you read a text, any text, it's when you read a human text. Let's do this. There are a couple of emotions. There are a couple of neurotransmitters in your brain that kind of make you want to connect with a person.
Mhm.
There are three basic things that can affect your love or hatred to a certain text.
Okay.
Okay. The first one is dopamine. Have you heard about dopamine? What kind of
Yeah.
hormone? What kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
neurotransmitter?
Yeah. It's happiness. Is it not?
It's the happiness, but it's anticipation of the happiness. Anticipation
Anticipation.
that something is going to happen. Dopamine is produced when you read a post that sounds like, I charge $200 for 1 hour. And you go like, what? Why? How? Why? You know,
Okay. Okay.
this is dopamine. Or when you say, all right, my student cried at the lesson, and you just think, oh my goodness, what happened? I want to read more. I want to get to know it. This is dopamine. Like, you want to know
Oh,
what.
right. Okay. So it's
This is like a
anticipation.
cliffhanger. Okay. The second one is oxytocin. Have you heard
Mhm.
about oxytocin?
I think that's the stress. No, no,
No.
that's not the stress hormone.
Cortisol.
That's the
You
yeah,
want
that's
cortisol.
hormone of connection. That's hormone of
Hormone of connection,
personal
yes.
connection.
It's the thing that, that your brain produces when you just, it's a sort of a feeling that you want to wrap the text around you like a
Yeah,
blanket, and just like,
yeah, like a personal embrace.
yes, like a personal embrace. And it is, I don't know, when you read a story about, I was helping children in need, or I'm giving free classes to the ladies on Saturday afternoon, and you just want to, it's a good feeling, and it makes this connection very human, very genuine. So this is
Mhm.
oxytocin, our love hormone.
Yeah.
The third one is endorphins. And
Mhm.
endorphins is the neurotransmitter that makes you laugh. This is your favorite linguistic joke. This is your favorite meme. That
Mhm.
is your, I don't know, a funny joke, which, by the way, AI is still very bad at.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
bad at giving endorphins. So it's like like this hormonal cocktail of the things that you, if you read any book, you would feel all of these three at once. And the problem with AI, the text that it produces, at the moment, maybe it's going to get better in the future, but at the moment, the text is very emotion neutral. So there's no connection. There's no oxytocin. There's no dopamine. There's very little endorphins. It's not funny. It doesn't want you to, to hug the person who's reading the text.
It's like 5 time processed meat that is an amalgamation of bones and joints and a
Yeah.
juicy steak. I
Mm.
don't know if anybody's vegan here, sorry.
But it's like a processed meat with all
Yeah.
the joints and bones.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
sad.
kind of. Well, I guess it's a natural thing. It's a machine. It doesn't feel. It doesn't grasp the complexity of the human emotions. So um, when I explain the things to AI, this is how it feels. This is how oxytocin feels. This is what I want for my text. It's not able to grasp the idea of oxytocin in the text.
That's
So
true.
no, that's a
Okay.
thing. Mm.
We have one very, very warm commentary here that is going to give us a little bit of oxytocin from
A little bit of
Adita.
oxytocin. Yes.
Hi, Adita.
Yes,
Lots of
Rita.
hugs. Thank you for a dose of oxytocin.
Yes.
Okay, so I have a short question
Go
to the
ahead.
audience that
Okay.
we have with us today because we are going to move deep into this AI lake. Do you use AI for writing posts? So that's one thing I wonder. Please write in the comments. Yes, no. Sometimes, like, do you have this experience, or do you write all your posts on LinkedIn
And
or
are
like
you
Facebook?
satisfied with it or not?
Yeah, no, you satisfied with it. So please share your personal experience with it, and
Mm.
if you've done that. Um, in general, do you yourself use AI? Because it sounds like we are very
Mm.
antagonistic.
No, we are
No,
not totally.
but we're
No,
not.
I
We
think
have to
AI is a
embrace it.
fantastic, fantastic tool. Yes,
Yeah.
which I'm actually against. Is like it's copy pasting all the content that ChatGPT or Claude or whatever AI that you're using at the moment is providing. Because once again, it doesn't feel genuine, it doesn't feel real at all. So you have to. I think it's a fantastic tool for proofreading the text that you've written. It's a fantastic tool for, just kind of having a separate set of eyes to have a look at the text that you've
Yeah.
produced and just putting everything together.
Yeah.
I know some people are using it. I know some people are using it in a way of like brainstorming the ideas of what you can
Yeah.
write about. But once again, you are the person. This is your personal brand and this is your personality. So I feel like There were some ideas like brainstorm ideas, problems for an English learner of B1 level, and ChatGPT would just give you a random list of problems, and you would start, writing posts about this. Here is the problem one, problem two, problem three. But if you teach, you could get the sense like this
You
is
will
not
know.
exactly what's going on with them. This is not the problem, or it is not connected at all. Their students. ChatGPT doesn't.
Yeah, maybe it feels like, something simple that you can use. I remember when we were preparing for this live, we had this interesting metaphor with AI, like when we all got cell
Mhm.
phones first, and there was absolutely no ethics on how they should be used. People had them on them all the time. Like you could, even today, I think even today, people do not really know you know how to be ethical about using them, like when you're with
Mhm.
someone on a date or
Mhm.
out with a friend. Is it okay to pick up a call? Is it okay to start replying to messages? And now we know that it's not okay. We
Mhm.
have talked about it. We know that there are certain rules that we have discussed, that these are the ways you can you can use mobile phones. You can't read somebody else's screen over their shoulder on public transport. This is
Mhm.
a no. But with AI, we're at the
Yeah, we're
stage
still
where
learning.
we were
Mhm.
so excited. We're just learning how we can use it, and we are playing with it like children, like 3-year-olds, just throwing it
That's who we
around,
are.
showing it into the mouth, trying to bite it and chewing it.
What did you say?
Is it
Mm.
edible? And I think it's already time to start talking about what is the ethical use, what is the
Mhm.
ecological use of AI. Can you just, write all
Mhm.
your posts with it? Because we all see, like if you've used AI at least like several times, you will be able to
Mhm.
recognize AI
Mhm.
written
One of
posts
my one of my students
most of
says
the
that
time.
there is no feeling, but I guess that's what I mentioned previously, like you read the text and there's nothing behind, and it's kind of processed it.
Yeah.
But I think we
Mhm.
also we are constantly being bombarded by these messages like you have to create a personal brand, you have to stay online, you have to post. There are rules
Yeah.
about, like 7 days a week, you should be online, and you should comment, and you should write, and it's a lot. It's a lot. And then, like a magic pill, the person says, I know how difficult it is to write the text. Here is a magic pill, my AI companion. It's like this is how you're going to use it. And a lot of people would understand that because being constantly told that you have to give information, but where do you get the inspiration for? It's like where do you have time to write all these posts?
We're teachers,
Yeah,
we're not writers, we're not social
yeah,
media marketing
no.
specialists or anything. Okay, let's take a look at some of the answers we have from the audience. So, Edita says that Claude is her invisible friend. How do you use it, Edith? How do you use it, I wonder? Can you share a few ways you have used it? Do you write posts with it? Does it help you analyze things, get new ideas? Because I love
Mhm.
using Claude as well,
Oh,
actually, more
really?
than ChatGPT. I don't know how I feel. It feels more
As a human.
thoughtful. If I can say that about a language model, it feels more thoughtful.
Right. Okay. Okay.
But honestly, if I see another embark on a
Oh.
journey or dive into, these
Mhm.
AIisms,
Mhm.
we have to have this new word,
Amazing.
AIism, because they're everywhere. Yeah. Okay. And Marie Christina Delfino says she doesn't post using AI, but she posts on social media. Okay. This is the old fashioned approach.
Totally fine. Mhm. Mhm.
Fantastic one, yes. Use it
Mhm.
as a springboard to refine some passages
That's
or for the
perfect.
hook. Yes, I have used AI
Mhm.
for those things as well. And actually, I think being not a native speaker, I sometimes can run my text through AI just to see if it gives the right idea, if I haven't misused some phrases, because sometimes I can feel a bit self-conscious about posting if I'm not sure about a phrase or two, if I have worded
I
it
see.
correctly.
I
So
see.
that's one thing. Andy says that she uses it all the time, and I'm being honest about me using it. Um, on the spot feedback and
Mhm.
initial drafts. I think it's great if you rewrite it later, if you bring that personal touch, if you add something to it without just
Absolutely.
copy pasting
Absolutely.
what AI gave you. And the thing is maintaining your criteria to not lose your voice when writing, or any creative process for that matter.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more with Andy. I think it's like, well, again, people get attracted by your personality, and AI has no personality. So, making sure that your voice is still very clear and very, even if the post was written by AI, even if it was brainstormed by AI, just seeing that this is you inside. So,
Right. And we've touched upon a very interesting idea of the fact that we are constantly bombarded by this idea that you have to build your
Mhm.
personal brand, you have to have social
Mhm.
media presence. So how do you not stretch
Oh, but
yourself
I
too
do.
thin? How, how are you? You do. Okay. Okay.
I do. I do.
What
Okay.
social
One
media
lesson
are
I
you
learned from my
present
recent
on?
burnout. Let's paraphrase this question. Okay. You,
Sounds like a great
yeah,
LinkedIn post.
that's a dopamine, like tell me more. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
I think you have to be very realistic with yourself because I don't know about yourself, but unless you're an influencer, social media doesn't actually provide you money. You're not getting paid for posting. You still have to maintain your professional responsibility, and you still have to work. So the only thing that is going to be working for you is finding this rhythm of social media, work, social media, occasional weekend, that is going to work. Occasional
Occasional.
weekend when you're not on social media, when you just close everything and do not respond to messages. But the only thing that it is going to work is finding this rhythm and being honest with yourself how I can maintain this sustainably, realistically, how much time I'm going to spend there. Because in the beginning, I was spending way too much time on social media, and it paid off. I built a community. I had a lot of followers. People were, coming and reading and commenting. It worked, but the consequence of it,
Did it
it did convert.
convert?
It did convert, but again, I was just I had a feeling that I'm working two jobs at the same time. So I was working, teaching English, it's my primarily occupation, and I was spending evenings on LinkedIn, and it was so much worse at the end. That you have to make a decision at the end, and you just go like, no, I'm not going to be posting anything, and I would just forget about LinkedIn for a while. So yes, finding your rhythm and finding something that works best for you. Forget about all these LinkedIn guru advice about, you have to post twice a week, or you have to command at least 20 comments every day. You have to warm up the algorithm. The algorithm is not a human. It doesn't need warming up. It's kind of do
Don't.
whatever works for
Yeah.
you.
You don't have
You
to
don't have
do
to do
anything.
anything.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that works for you, whatever it is that allows you to do this in the normal human pace and your own rhythm, it's going to work.
Thank you. Okay, and we have actually answer from Adita. Though Claude gives her feedback and summarizes her tons of notes and doesn't get angry when I mention touch with punctuation. Yeah,
M
yeah,
dash, M dash. Okay, when I tell it specifically that
yes.
it should not be using this M dash, it doesn't.
Yeah. So to end on a practical note, maybe, can you give top three things you recommend people do to stay genuine, to build real connections on social media? Maybe three things that you always do that you feel help you build these connections and stay genuine.
I would say it all starts with a goal. Being clear about what it is that you want from the social media. If it's talking to your ideal client, then probably defining who your ideal client is. What they might be wanting, what might be the struggle for them, and then deciding really what you're using social media for. Yes. And then just start
Mm.
writing, start practicing. Really, I know for a lot of people it comes as a surprise, but I write every day. Even if I don't post, and I don't currently post them at all, but I still write. It's an
Okay.
exercise.
Is
It's
it like
it's
journaling?
I think it's both. I write marketing posts, I write personal stories. It's a muscle that needs training. So the more you write, the easier it's going to become for you. So keep on writing. Keep on writing.
Yeah. Not even for
Yeah,
posting,
just
just
write for
write
yourself.
things.
Yeah, just write for yourself unless you are
Okay.
satisfied with the result that you're getting. And the third one.
I mean, but don't
No,
be too
don't be too
critical
critical.
over
It's an
yours.
exercise, and you don't, honestly, you don't have to show it to anybody. So just keep
Yeah. But sometimes you need to start
it.
showing. At some point, you will need to start showing.
Only when you're ready, right? Only when you're ready. Yeah. So,
Nobody's
no.
scrutinizing you, nobody's there to judge you.
Yeah, that's another thing that people forget. In our day and age, people relatively we don't have the attention span. We don't remember what we read 3 hours ago. No one is going to remember your post from last Friday because honestly, the whole weekend happened and people just moved on. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And one thing is, I noticed on like any social media, if you leave it for some amount of time and then you come back, you feel like you have to apologize or like people have been missing you. People will never notice that you were gone. Just, if
reason.
you went on a hiatus for a few weeks, maybe a month, maybe
Mhm.
half a year, if you have been silent for half a year, just start posting like nothing happened.
Nobody
Nobody
will.
will notice. Nobody will
That's so true.
care.
That's so true. That's
When I moved to the Netherlands, I stopped posting for
Mhm.
like a few months on LinkedIn. Nobody cared. Nobody missed me. But that's great.
Actually, people reached out to me and were like, "Are you okay? You're not posting. What's going on?" It's like, why? That's really strange. I see your comments in my
What
post.
did you
But then again, people would say things like, "I don't see you liking my post. Is anything the matter? Did you stop liking my post?" And I was like, I cannot
Oh,
stand, being on LinkedIn anymore. I'm tired. Can I please have some time alone? And people are like, oh yes, all right, I understand. That's good. So,
yeah. Wow. Okay, that's an interesting thing that never happened to me. Well, that's the price you have to pay for
well,
being
that's
so
the price
cool.
for again creating this community and being very active, and then suddenly one day you're
Yeah.
not there, and people are like, oh
Yeah.
wow, okay, there is an important part missing.
Maybe you have to wean people off your presence.
I told you my secret.
Okay.
Three neurotransmitters, three things that makes your brain happy when you read a text. So dopamine,
Yeah,
oxytocin, and endorphins. Right.
that's the main point. Okay. So Albert shared that she cannot produce more than one post a week, so once a week it is
Absolutely.
for her.
Yes,
Yes,
finally.
Albert. Yes. Do whatever works for you.
You
You
do
do
you.
you, girl.
You do you. Yeah.
Okay, let's finish on this note. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for having this talk with me. I enjoyed it greatly, and I'm sure that our listeners did too.
Okay. I think it's like
um,
in the time when you're constantly bombarded that you have to do something, and there's one person that tells you don't have to do anything. It's just like you do you. You don't have to post. You don't have to comment. This personal branding, just forget about it for a while. Go have some fun.
and then
Well,
write about it.
Palina.
I went I went off Facebook. Oh, sorry, I went off LinkedIn. I had some fun, and this is what I learned.
That's
Just don't
that's not
embark on
what I
any
meant at
journeys,
all.
guys. Stop embarking on journeys and diving into adventures.
Hashtag hashtag
All
LinkedIn
right.
hashtag English.
Yeah, viral post. Okay, okay. Well,
Thank you
thanks
so
one more
much.
time for coming, and we'll
Yes, we'll
see you
see
on
you around
LinkedIn.
again.
Don't forget to connect to Anna on
See you there.
LinkedIn.
See you. Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye. That concludes today's live session. We'll have another one a week from now. Wait for our posts on LinkedIn, and it's going to be an interesting topic, as always, I hope.